You felt it, haven't you? That pull. That ache. That almost maddening sensation of being tethered to someone across time, space, and logic. And yet, they're not fully here. Not physically. Not emotionally. Not yet. You've searched for the answer, why he's not ready, why he retreats, why he stares at you like he remembers a dream he hasn't lived yet, then disappears like he never saw you at all. You wonder if it's fear, or timing, or karma. But here's the truth no one tells you at the beginning of the twin flame journey: it's not about love. It's not about lust. At least, not at first. The divine masculine is craving something much deeper, something so foundational, so sacred, that without it, union would collapse under its own divine weight. And once you understand what he's really seeking, everything begins to make sense. Before we begin, if you've found comfort, clarity, or confirmation through my words, you're not alone. You're part of a soul-led collective, and I invite you to deepen that connection by joining the Inner Sphere membership here on this channel. Inside, we explore the most intimate truths of the twin flame path, channeled messages, sacred activations, and guidance not shared publicly. If your soul feels called, we're waiting for you. Now, let's unravel the 5 things the masculine craves before sacred union, and why it's not what you think. Number 1. Sovereignty over his own energy. Before the divine masculine can reach out and hold you, not just with his hands, but with the full presence of his soul, he must reclaim what was once his but has long been buried: his energy. His essence. The unfiltered truth of who he is beneath the noise of the world. This journey isn't about learning how to love you. It's about remembering how to be himself. Because for so long, his identity has been shaped by forces that had nothing to do with his truth. He was taught what strength should look like, how emotions should be buried, what success should mean, and how love should be controlled. He's worn 1,000 masks, some inherited, some imposed, some willingly chosen to survive. But none of them were designed for union. Not with you. Not with the divine. So when you appear, when your presence stirs the part of him that remembers who he is beyond conditioning, it rattles something in his core. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because your very being disrupts the illusion. And that kind of awakening doesn't feel gentle at first. It feels like chaos. That's why he pulls away. Not because he doesn't feel the connection, but because he feels too much of it while still being enmeshed in everything that isn't aligned. He's in a sacred unraveling, a spiritual detox. And in that space, he doesn't need pressure. He needs permission to reclaim himself. This is the part of the journey that's often misunderstood. His distance isn't rejection, it's reclamation. A reclaiming of energy that was once scattered across obligations, identities, and fears. And when he finally gathers it back, he can begin to move toward you from a place of soul, not survival. Because union doesn't require a man who's available. It requires a man who is sovereign. Number 2. A sense of purpose that exists beyond you. It's one of the most painful misconceptions on the twin flame path, that love alone is enough. That if he just loved you more, he would choose you now, show up fully, and step into union. But the truth is more sacred, more complex, and far more empowering. His soul is not here to orbit yours. It's here to shine beside it. You see, your connection awakens his divinity. But it also awakens a deep, almost disorienting sense of potential within him, something ancient, urgent, and undeniable. And that potential can't simply be channeled into romance. It demands mission. Until he understands why he's here, why his soul chose this incarnation, he cannot fully align with the frequency of union. Because union is not a destination. It's a co-creation. And he must know what he brings to that creation, beyond love, beyond chemistry, beyond desire. Without purpose, the masculine often feels lost, like he's being pulled into something vast with no map. Your presence makes him feel more, but until he knows what to do with that feeling, it overwhelms him. So instead of rising into his calling, he may retreat into confusion, distraction, or even avoidance. Not because he doesn't care, but because your light illuminates what he hasn't yet found within himself. That's why his journey must include the sacred work of purpose discovery. Not just building a career or a name, but becoming a vessel for something higher. When he knows what he stands for, what he serves, what he's here for, only then can he truly stand beside you. Not dependent, not afraid, but sovereign in his service, anchored in his calling. And when that moment arrives, you'll know. The energy will shift. The path will clear. And his yes will feel like destiny remembering itself. Number 3. A safe space to express his emotional depth. The divine masculine has been conditioned to believe that emotion is weakness, that strength is found in silence, in stoicism, in control. From a young age, he was taught to bottle his tears, suppress his fears, and translate vulnerability into performance. So when his heart begins to open, truly open, on the twin flame journey, he often doesn't know what to do with the flood that comes rushing in. It's not that he doesn't feel. It's that he's been starved of the right to feel. He's been applauded for emotional distance and punished for tenderness. And so, when you come along, when your presence begins to stir everything he has long buried, it can feel both exhilarating and terrifying. Because to be with you means to feel with you. And to feel with you means confronting everything he's kept locked away for years, lifetimes even. This is why emotional safety is not a luxury, it's a necessity. He must learn, often for the first time, that his emotional world is not a liability. That crying doesn't make him less masculine. That being held doesn't make him weak. That his feelings, no matter how messy or intense, are sacred intelligence, not something to be hidden or fixed. And this is where you, divine feminine, become a mirror, not by pushing, but by embodying permission. When you show him your own emotional depth with grace and self-honor, you create an energetic atmosphere that whispers, "You're safe here." And in that safety, his walls begin to fall, not out of obligation, but because his soul finally feels seen. Before union, he doesn't need to be ready in the traditional sense. He needs to be real, emotionally available, honest with himself, and willing to be witnessed in his fullness. that's when true intimacy begins. And from that soil, union can finally grow. Number 4. The courage to break generational patterns. The divine masculine doesn't just fall in love with you, he falls into an awakening because of you. And that awakening doesn't simply revolve around romance or desire. It shakes the very bones of his lineage. You, divine feminine, are the first soul in his karmic bloodline who doesn't let the old story continue unchecked. Your energy doesn't just attract him, it confronts him. When he looks at you, something deep within him begins to stir. Not just longing or admiration, but recognition. The kind that makes him question the way he was raised, the emotional language he was taught, the cycles of betrayal, absence, silence, and survival that have played on repeat in his family's history. He sees it. And because of that, he can no longer pretend not to. But awakening is not the same as readiness. Real change demands courage, the kind that strips away everything he thought was normal or necessary for masculine identity. It means saying no to inherited legacies. No to emotional stoicism passed down from his father. No to abandonment patterns modeled by generations of men who didn't know how to stay. And that kind of no, it doesn't feel good at first. It feels like death. He's not distant because he doesn't care. He's distant because you've activated a war inside him, a war between what's familiar and what's sacred. Between what he was taught to be and what he knows he's meant to become. Choosing you doesn't just mean choosing love. It means choosing evolution. And that evolution demands that he let go of everything that made him feel safe in dysfunction. You're not asking him to love you perfectly, you're asking him to be the one who ends the cycle. And that takes everything. Number 5. Spiritual authority within his own masculinity. The final threshold the divine masculine must cross before true union is not external, it's an inner reclamation of his own sacred fire. For too long, masculinity has been misrepresented, misunderstood, and misused. It's been distorted into dominance, manipulation, and emotional repression. In response, many men have detached from their masculine essence altogether, fearing that strength must always come at the cost of love. But real union doesn't ask the masculine to surrender his power. It asks him to purify it. To transmute aggression into protection, control into clarity, and ego into divine leadership. This isn't about becoming less masculine. It's about remembering what masculinity looks like when it's rooted in soul instead of shadow. He doesn't want to overpower you. But he does want to show up as a grounded, present force beside you, one who can hold space, make decisions with integrity, and walk in alignment with something greater than himself. This requires a deep, inner reckoning. He must confront the ways he's feared his own power, avoided responsibility, or numbed his inner voice. And slowly, through solitude, spiritual mentorship, divine downloads, and life's initiations, he begins to reforge his identity, not as a man who performs, but as one who embodies. You'll know when it happens. He'll no longer speak in confusion or act in fear. His gaze will hold presence. His choices will align with values. He will no longer avoid conflict, but navigate it with purpose. He will not just desire you, He will honor the space you hold and the path you walk together. Because true divine union doesn't bloom from passive presence. It ignites when a man steps fully into his sacred masculine energy, not to take control of love, but to serve it with reverence. So beloved, where are you in all of this? You may ask, if it's not love or lust, then what role do I play before union? Everything. You are the reason he's awakening it all. Your light is not passive, it's catalytic. Your energy doesn't beg for love, it calls it into its highest form. But your job is not to wait. It's to rise. Your path is to become the version of yourself that doesn't need him to choose you in order to feel chosen by the divine. Because when both twins reclaim themselves fully, union becomes inevitable. So if you're in the waiting, make it sacred. If you're in the heartbreak, let it break open your soul, not just your heart. And if you're in the silence, know that something is being rewritten in that quiet. A truth is forming. A man is awakening. And when he's ready, when these 5 things are found and felt in his bones, you won't have to chase him. He'll find you. Because he's been craving something all along, and now, finally, he'll know it was never just love or lust. It was you, and everything you awakened in him. Beloved, if this message touched something inside you, I invite you to join our Inner Sphere membership here on the channel. There, we go deeper into the unspoken truths of the twin flame journey, the divine feminine mysteries, and the channeled insights that arrive only in sacred space. You'll gain access to exclusive videos, early releases, live Q&As, and a soul community walking beside you. Now tell me, which of these 5 things resonated most deeply with your journey? Have you seen this unfolding in your masculine? I'd love to hear your story in the comments. And if this message stirred your soul, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who might need these words right now. We are not walking this path alone. We never were.